Now this first one I will show you comes from TikTok user Tyla, a travel creator who shares experiences from across the United States and around the world. She previously worked in hotels and now focuses on reviewing accommodations, offering travel advice, and helping people plan better trips. Her content usually stays firmly grounded in practical travel tips, except for this one video. Tyla recorded this footage somewhere in the Appalachian Mountains, though she never specifies exactly where. During a solo glamping trip with her dog, she found herself completely alone in the mountains at night. And not alone in the casual sense, truly solo, deep in the Appalachian wilderness, after dark. Just that alone sounds like the beginning of a horror story, and it did become one, because during a quick nighttime walk, likely just to let her dog out, she heard something that immediately changed the tone of the night.
Come on, baby. Yeah, let's go. We spots? Was that Dalmatian? Okay. You just wanted to be in the video. Say hey. Yeah, because what is that? Let's go inside. It's super far away, but like, no, what is that? Yo, come on. Come on, yo. He came inside so fast. Yeah, I don't know what that was, but we in for the night.
It wasn't just a single scream. It was several loud, piercing screams echoing through the darkness. The kind of sound that instantly sets off every alarm in your body. Apparently, this is what happens when you ignore all the Appalachian horror stories and decide to walk alone outside at night. Fortunately, Tyla didn't try to investigate or respond to the sound. She didn't call out. She didn't follow it. Instead, she quietly spoke into the camera and immediately returned to her cabin. A smart decision. Because there's no telling what might have happened if she had stayed out there any longer. And this isn't just audio layered over the footage. Watch her dog. It panics, not with a loud, aggressive bark, but with a small, nervous sound, confused, unsettled, almost asking, "What was that?" Animals often react before humans fully process danger, and her dog's response says everything. Tyla never shared any follow-up about the incident. She simply went back to posting her usual travel content, as if nothing had happened. I'm relieved she's safe, but those screams remain unexplained. So now the question is yours. What do you think caused them? Do you have any theories? Let me know in the comments below. Now sometimes, whatever's out there doesn't just pass through in one night. In the next story, the fear doesn't arrive in a single moment. It settles in slowly, returning again and again, until it becomes impossible to ignore. In the fall of 2020, Lauren, who lives somewhere in the Appalachian region, began noticing strange and unsettling occurrences around her home, things she simply couldn't explain. Unsure of what was happening and increasingly disturbed, she decided to document and share her experiences on her TikTok account.
So I have a bunch of trees in my backyard, but there's this one that doesn't look like the other trees. So I'm gonna go check that one out because it has pretty red leaves or flowers next to it, and it's interesting. Here's the tree. It's dead, but it's very pretty. And there's these weird things that are in it. I don't know what that's for. And it has crazy holes that I like. But here's the pretty red things. Flowers. No, they're leaves. Those are leaves. Oh. I like you. What is that?
At first, the videos were subtle, small details that didn't quite make sense. Lauren spoke calmly, but there was an uneasiness beneath her words, as if she already sensed that something wasn't right. Then, for nearly a year, everything went quiet. No new activity, no strange events. It seemed like whatever had been happening had stopped entirely. But that changed in 2021 when Lauren noticed something deeply unsettling around her property.
So I'm walking around the fence line of my property, and I've noticed that someone or something has put something on pretty much all of my fence posts. I don't know if someone's like fucking with me or that this is something else, but like it's literally all like bones or like a creepy doll. I don't know what that was.
The fence surrounding her home had been lined with strange objects, carefully arranged in a deliberate pattern. The placement didn't look random. It felt intentional. Whether it was the work of a person or something else entirely remained unclear. But from that moment on, the situation only grew stranger. Days later, more unexplained activity began unfolding around her home. Each time she checked outside, no one was there. No footsteps, no movement, no signs of anyone nearby. But whenever she went back inside, something would happen again.
I'm not sorry, but I can find something.
Luna, come on.
Later that day, her security camera captured something chilling. As Lauren stood outside, her hair was suddenly yanked upward by what appeared to be an unseen force. There was no one behind her. No explanation. Just a sudden, violent movement caught clearly on camera. And a few nights later, while she was on a phone call with her boyfriend, even more disturbing events began to unfold.
Pretty much. Dude, my fucking door just closed.
Is that the flame sound?
Yes, and it's locked.
What the fuck?
I just got locked out of my house.
Is anyone there?
Yes, nobody's here.
That's kind of scary. Where's the door?
Luna! Luna's inside by herself. I don't even see her in there.
Well,
Hang on.
Take a rash. Lady? Hello? Oh, fuck, she's nudged us.
Luna! 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 Luna!
The fear in Lauren's voice was unmistakable now. Whatever was happening was no longer subtle, and it was becoming impossible to ignore. Then, silence. For 2 whole months, nothing happened. No sounds, no movement, no activity at all. Until one night, when someone, or something, began knocking on her window.
Come here. Sit. Come here. Fuck. Can't see.
The source of these events was never identified, and perhaps even more unsettling. After that final post, Lauren stopped uploading altogether. No updates, no explanations. She simply vanished from the platform, leaving everyone who had followed her story with unanswered questions. We can only hope that Lauren is safe, and that she may have moved out of that house entirely. Because after experiencing events like these, most people wouldn't feel safe staying there another night. The Appalachian Trail that goes through the beautiful nature of the region is supposed to be an escape, a path where the world's noise fades into the wind in the trees. But on May 10, 2019, in Virginia's Jefferson National Forest, that path became the setting for a horror story that 4 hikers never saw coming. One of them was 43-year-old Ronald Stronghold Sanchez Jr., an Army veteran. After deployments and years of PTSD, he turned to long-distance hiking as a way to cope, finding comfort in the steady rhythm of walking and the trail community around him. Another man was out there too, 30-year-old James L. Jordan from Massachusetts, a man who would become a crucial part of the tragic demise of 43-year-old Sanchez Jr. However, the story really began weeks earlier when several hikers reported seeing a distressed man wandering the woods with a guitar. One hiker later told the court that the man was acting disturbed and unstable, playing his guitar and singing. On the evening of May 10, 2019, Sanchez, a Canadian woman, and 2 other hikers encountered Jordan. He was rambling and singing, unnerving but not yet violent. They moved on, setting up camp miles away, believing they had left him behind. They hadn't. Sometime after midnight, the quiet woods filled with his voice. He had found their tents. 4 small shelters glowed faintly in the dark. Outside, someone paced around the campsite. Jordan began shouting at the thin walls of nylon, threatening to kill the hikers and harm them in their sleep. Inside, fear spiked. The group decided to pack up and leave, hoping to slip away and put distance between themselves and this man. They unzipped their tents and stepped onto the trail. Jordan was waiting, holding a 17-inch long knife. The confrontation exploded. 2 hikers managed to break away and vanish into the trees. They called 911 at 2:30 a.m., saying that they were being chased by a man with a knife. However, Sanchez and the woman stayed, trying to calm him, to talk him down. It didn't work. In a sudden burst of violence, Jordan lunged. In the headlamp's narrow beam, the knife flashed again and again. Sanchez was stabbed repeatedly and collapsed on the ground of the trail he loved, mortally wounded. The woman saw him fall and ran. She sprinted along the narrow path, heart hammering, footsteps closing in behind her. When she finally stumbled and turned, Jordan was there. She threw up her hands to surrender. He stabbed her several times before she fell down on the Appalachian Trail. On the cold ground in the dark, she lay motionless until Jordan walked away into the trees to look for his dog. Only when the woods fell silent did she move. She had played dead. Injured and alone, she forced herself to her feet and started walking. She made it miles through the darkness before reaching 2 other hikers who could call for help. Rescue teams hiked in to evacuate her and to recover Sanchez's body from the remote campsite. Jordan didn't disappear into the mountains. Law enforcement tracked him through the forest and arrested him in the early morning hours. Federal prosecutors charged him with murder and assault with intent to murder. Crimes that typically mean spending the rest of your life behind bars. As doctors and attorneys examined Jordan, a different picture emerged. Court records describe a history of severe mental illness. Psychiatrists diagnosed him with schizoaffective disorder, and a judge at one point ruled he was too unwell even to stand trial, sending him to a federal medical center for treatment before he was finally found competent. In April 2021, in a federal courtroom far from the trees where the attack happened, the case reached its legal conclusion. Instead of a jury trial, both sides agreed that Jordan would plead not guilty by reason of insanity. A judge accepted the plea, finding that at the time of the attack, he was unable to understand the wrongfulness of his actions. That didn't mean he walked free. Under the court's order, Jordan was committed to a secure psychiatric facility. He will only be released if a judge is convinced that letting him out would not create a substantial risk of serious harm to others. a standard that could keep him locked away for the rest of his life. The Appalachian Trail continues without him. Hikers still pass the quiet stretch of forest where this attack happened. Most of them are unaware they're walking over the ground where Ronald Stronghold Sanchez Jr. spent his final night, or that a wounded woman once staggered past in the dark, fighting to stay alive. For the trail community, the story is a reminder that even in places built on peace and solitude, people bring their own demons. Sometimes they hike to heal, and sometimes, as on that night in 2019, those demons break loose. Now, from a story shaped by violence and tragedy, we move to something quieter. A seasoned hiker, a familiar trail, and a moment so strange it left him questioning everything he thought he knew about the mountains. On November 6, 2024, the YouTuber Brant, creator of the channel Brant Hikes, uploaded a video that stood out from the rest. His channel mainly focuses on hiking, especially along the Appalachian Mountains, a place he knows as well as home. But on this particular trip, while hiking a stretch of the Appalachian Trail he had walked hundreds of times before, a routine overnight camp would quickly turn into a nightmare unlike anything he'd ever experienced. Like always, the video began with a peaceful morning coffee in the wild, accompanied by Brant's calm, smooth voice as he explained the day's plan. And for most of the video, nothing unusual happens. It's just Brant hiking alone through the quiet, empty trails of the Appalachian Mountains. Now, after nearly half a day of walking, he reaches an empty shelter deep in the wilderness, a rare luxury when you're hiking the Appalachian Trail. But Brant isn't a fan of shelter camping. He prefers sleeping on the hard ground with nothing but a tarp stretched above his head. So, he keeps going. Eventually, he arrives at the Rocky Mountain campsite, and just off a small side trail, only a few hundred meters from the main camp area, Brant finds what he's looking for. A flat patch of ground tucked away from everyone else. The perfect place to settle in for the night. However, just as he was down by the newly found campsite, Brant saw something that made every hair on his body rise.
Hey, talk about creepy. I was just down at that stealth site there checking it out, talking about it, and I heard and saw a hiker coming down the trail. And I thought I'd stay at the campsite and wait for the hiker to pass. And the hiker never passed, and there's nobody here, and it's freaking me out right now. I've got chills up and down my spine. Yeah, I saw a person with a pack on, wearing hiking clothes. There's no way they passed me. Yeah, this is weird. I'm getting out of this spot. I'm telling you, that's
He had never seen the hiker come down, and knowing this section of the Appalachian Trail like the back of his hand, Brant was certain there were no side paths, no shortcuts, and nowhere else the man could have gone. Could it have been a ghostly apparition? The realization sent a chill straight through him. Feeling uneasy, Brant decided to leave his chosen campsite for the moment and move on. But as Brant continues moving away from the area, he mentions that this actually wasn't the first time he'd seen something strange that day.
You know, honestly, that's the second time today that's happened. And the first time is when I was sawing that log, and I looked over and I was like, oh, someone's coming up the trail. The log will be sawed for them when they get here, and there was never anybody there.
But before he can elaborate further, he's forced to cut the video short as his camera battery is running low. In his final update, Brant said he planned to put as much distance as possible between himself and this section of the mountain before nightfall, hoping to get a decent night's sleep once he was far enough away. Now, even though he didn't catch anything on footage of these strange occurrences, to me, it sounds like an honest story, especially because Brant's videos normally never include the mysteries that our world has to offer, just the peaceful way of spending time in nature. So, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on this one? Let me know in the comments below. Now, sometimes people don't stumble into the unknown by accident. In this next video, Dawson walks straight into it, alone, choosing to stay after dark in a place many believe was never truly abandoned. Dawson Toller is the creator behind the YouTube channel Dawson Toller, a channel that is, in my opinion, heavily underrated considering the quality of his videos. Dawson's investigations are not about quick thrills or sensationalism, but rather thoughtful explorations into places that are said to be haunted, places that have long been forgotten by time, yet seem to hold on to their pasts in a way that's impossible to ignore. So if you're someone who enjoys delving into the mysteries of our world, especially those that sit on the eerie edge of the unknown, then this is definitely a channel worth checking out. In this video, Dawson took his viewers to Elkmont, a very famous abandoned ghost town in the Appalachian Mountains. Once a vibrant town full of life, Elkmont now stands silent and deserted. Dawson decided to visit all on his own, hoping to uncover the truth behind the many eerie stories and ghostly rumors that have surrounded this place for decades. Is Elkmont truly haunted by the spirits of its past? Or is it just another tale spun by those who are drawn to the mysteries of the unknown? Dawson's hoping to find that out.
Okay guys, we are in Elkmont, the Appalachian ghost town. Those were the only options. So we're going to be walking around exploring some of these houses, and then when it gets dark out, we're going to come in here and try to find out if there's any spirits roaming this abandoned ghost town within the Appalachia.
Dawson takes his first walk through Elkmont, getting a feel for the layout of the village before darkness falls. As he moves from cabin to cabin, he shares the town's history, the families who once lived here, the tragic train crash of 1909, and the forced exodus that followed. The air feels thick with the weight of the past, and Dawson speaks of the rumors that haunt these streets. Stories of ghosts, strange noises, and restless spirits. He takes his time, carefully noting the landmarks and empty houses, knowing he'll need this knowledge when he returns later. And as the sun finally sets, he prepares for the real investigation to begin, heading back in the darkness to reveal what Elkmont might still be hiding.
Here we are, guys. We're in Elkmont, and we're heading to the first cabin. I'm super creeped out. It is just an entire town, completely empty. And the first spot that we're gonna go to is gonna be number 7. 7 and 5 are some of the oldest ones here. So I figured we would start out at one of the oldest ones and then move on from there. There is a freaky ass vibe. And I don't know if that's just because it's dark out and I'm alone, or if it's because there's ghosts, but I'm ready to find out.
The day fades into night, and with it, the atmosphere shifts. The cabins, now shrouded in darkness, feel more menacing, their outlines barely visible against the inky black. That unsettling feeling Dawson had been ignoring all day suddenly settles in, heavier now. As the town falls completely silent, it's clear. The real investigation is about to begin.
Let's do the polite thing. Can I come in? Let's give a good scope out. Oh, I didn't even realize that number 5 was the one that had the really cool backyard patio thing. I don't know if that was a trick of the light, but I'm not kidding. I swear I saw something. During review, I noticed what I saw was indeed not a trick of the light, but just a bug flying outside.
Now, luckily for Dawson, this was just a bug, but strange things were about to occur, things that weren't as easily explained. The quiet of the night seemed to hold its breath, and Dawson couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching, waiting for him to uncover it. The real investigation was just beginning, and the town was already showing signs of life in ways he hadn't expected.
I'm freaking myself out. I'm in an entire town right now. There is nobody here. An entire street of just houses in the Appalachian Mountains. How crazy. That was really loud. That was outside somewhere. Let's grab the REM pod and take a gander. Just in case. I heard two noises. I highly doubt you guys will hear them, but they came from outside. And we are in the middle of the woods, but it freaked me out enough to not stay in the same place for a long enough time because it didn't come from inside here. So let's go ahead and move on to another spot and see if there's anybody that wants to talk to us. I just about fell down the stairs, that's what that was. We're gonna walk down this way, closer to where my car is. Another thing we have to worry about, genuinely, are bears. I don't want to speak it into existence, but it's definitely a possibility. We're gonna walk into this one because this is the one I just heard a scrape. Anyways, this is the one that I felt like was familiar. So I mean, I guess we should go into it, because why would I get that feeling?
If you ask me, Dawson does an impressive job of staying calm. Whatever was causing those sounds, there's a good chance it wasn't anything good. Yet, he presses on, unshaken, as if ready to face whatever is lurking in the darkness. There's a quiet determination in his steps, as though he's resolved to uncover the truth, no matter what it may be.
Let's see if there might be anybody in here that wants to have a conversation. And let's just start out by laying out the REM pod right here. There we go. If there's anybody in this house, I have a thing on the floor there. If you just walk up to it and touch it, it'll go off. And it won't hurt you. It's just to let you know that I'm here, or that you're here with me.
Now, I don't know if you saw it, but Dawson clearly didn't. As he began his attempt to make contact with whatever may haunt these grounds, something darted past the doorway, almost too fast to catch. It was fleeting, barely noticeable, but it was there, something moving in the shadows. Dawson, focused on his equipment, remained unaware of what just happened beyond his reach. He couldn't manage to get any answers through his equipment. But meanwhile, things didn't fall entirely silent. Every time Dawson entered one of the houses, the world outside seemed to come alive. It was as if something was stirring in the darkness, watching him from the edges of the village, growing more active the deeper he ventured.
I will say What is that? We need to step outside. That sounds weird. I don't know. I just don't want it to be a bear or something, because I truly am out here alone. This isn't one of those things where I'm like, I'm alone, guys, and there's some fucking dude hiding outside. Like, we keep it real over here. So we need to step out and take a gander. I heard what sounded like a stick breaking, and we are in the woods, but I'm getting really freaking freaked out. Let's go down this way and just... Sorry that I'm being such a pussy, guys, but I'm honestly more scared of the bears out here than anything else. I just heard it again. And I don't see anything. I'm starting to get... starting to get really spooked. All right. Let's take a second. Okay guys, right now we are taking a breather because I'm hearing noises. And while, yes, that is what I'm here for, people are terrifying. And if it's actually people...
This sense of unease wasn't easy to brush off. The sounds Dawson heard were too deliberate to be dismissed as just the wind or the trees settling. After hesitating for a while, he finally decided to choose his safety over his curiosity. In the end, he didn't get the clear signs or answers he was hoping for, but the strange noises that emerged just out of sight and the lingering, uneasy feeling he couldn't shake left him with more questions than before. I think we can all agree with Dawson that it's better to be safe than sorry, especially when it's unclear what exactly was causing those sounds. So, what do you think it was? A curious bear lurking just out of sight? Other people trying to stay hidden? Or maybe it indeed was the spirits that are said to haunt this village? Too shy to communicate directly with Dawson? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And finally, we move from investigation to pursuit. Because when screams echoed once again through the Appalachian woods, these next two brothers didn't retreat. They followed them, straight into the dark. On March 1st, 2022, two brothers from the channel Squatch TV were out exploring the Appalachian woods alone at night. And it didn't take long before blood-chilling screams began echoing through the silence. But instead of running, the brothers became even more intrigued. Determined to find out where or who those screams were coming from, they decided to head deeper into the darkness to investigate.
hard to tell with the wind, but it almost sounded like something definitely made some kind of noises over there. So we're gonna check it out. Occasionally snowmobilers come through here, but other than that, it's pretty remote. This is an abandoned train bridge. Okay.
Only a few seconds later, the screams started again, sharper, closer, and far more unsettling. Almost immediately, trees and branches in the distance began to sway, as if something was moving through them, either coming out or slipping away from the brothers. But despite every instinct telling them to leave, the two remained determined, locked into the moment and into their mission. They continued forward, desperate to find out what or who could be making those horrifying sounds.
Yeah, my brother said he heard some weird things, but that's pretty weird. I've never heard a grizzly bear sound like that before. Whew. You got like chills going down your spine?
Yup.
I hope the camera got that. Oh, you take that one path up here.
Yeah.
Is that right there?
Yeah. Picture the babies. Oh, baby.
Okay, I don't even want to go. I don't even want to. What the hell was that? Dude, this. Should we?
You got,
do it for the video?
you got your knife?
What the fuck is that?
The screams grew louder this time, the sound so terrified that it froze them in place. In an instant, the entire atmosphere shifted. One of the brothers hesitated, quietly debating whether this was even a good idea anymore. But with a knife in hand and determination pushing them forward, they convinced themselves nothing too bad could really happen out here. What they didn't know was that the most terrifying part of the night was still ahead of them. As they climbed the earth bank, darkness swallowed them whole. Yet the sounds didn't stop.
Okay, so we've been hearing some really fucking spooky shit, dude. I'm only giving it like maybe 5 more minutes. So we're walking.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the woods, about half an hour from my house. I only got a knife, but that's not gonna stop. It's coming from up there. I don't even know if I want to. We'll see what it is, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, this is like something fucking unknown.
Alright. Let's be safe how long we're out here, because I think there's a storm coming. It's getting real windy.
Alright. Okay.
Go. That's pretty loud. That's close.
Each step brought the unseen source nearer, and finally, the fear became too much. The brothers decided it was time to head back. With nothing but a single knife to protect themselves from what could very well be a wild bear, they knew this was a fight they could never win.
Oh, go. It's coming. Oh, crap. Wait, don't, wait. Go. Wait. Holy, I think I saw it. Go. 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 Go.
In an instant, the screams doubled in volume, erupting from what sounded like right beside them. And that's all it took. The brothers sprinted for their lives, tearing through the dark woods until they finally reached their car, breathless and shaking. What's truly disturbing is the uncertainty. At the start, the trees can be seen rustling and shaking on camera. Yet, when they get closer, the screams begin to sound almost human. Maybe it was two different creatures. Maybe it was the same one moving closer each time. But since they never managed to catch even a glimpse of whatever was out there, one thing is certain. This video remains a mystery. Now that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these horrifying clips, click to see more on the video on screen.